Is Jupiter, Florida dying? That's what a lot of people have been saying recently, that the game is dying. So in this video, we're going to take a look a bit more into that, looking closely at the details and seeing if the game is actually dying, why that might be the case, and what the developers are actually doing about this, because I know a lot of you guys do actually like the game. So make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. So a lot of people recently have been saying that Jupiter, Florida as a game is dying. However, you can't really base your theories off of that because everyone says that about every game. ROBLOX is the main game I play on my main channel and it's got over 10,000 plays consistently, even on inactive times, and people still say the game is dying, which simply isn't true. However, for Jupiter, Florida, they do kind of have a reasonable case. Well, first of all, it is an opinion if the game is dying or not. A lot of people say the game is dying because it gets boring, like the map just gets boring or the cars are just boring, but that's simply your opinion on whether you think the game is getting boring. You might have grown out of it, you might not enjoy it as much anymore, or you might just prefer Southwest Florida for whatever reason, as an example. Or driving Empire, which has licensed vehicles, which is kind of a valid reason, which we'll talk about later on in the video. But it's time to look at the facts. So this is ROBLOX. Now if we go into ROBLOX, we can actually search up Roblox games here. So if you type in Jupiter, Florida, we can have a look at this game and its statistics. So if we go to the daily chart and we click on all, we can see this is the concurrent players since the game became popular, when it got listed on ROBLOX. We can also see the new visits. Now, by looking at this chart, it is fair to say, factually speaking, statistically speaking, the game is dying. If we have a look, it had peak concurrent players of over 2,000 at one point in May 2024, and you can see throughout February, March, April, May, it was at its peak, and then as June came about, as 2024 came to an end and we entered 2025, you can see the game really started to fall. And in fact, if we have a look, December 21st 2024 is the last time the game ever had more than 1,000 plays. December 2024, if we have a look, ever since then it has never gone above 1,000. It is capped at like 800 or something, whatever that said just there, and it's never gone above that since. And even before that, it very rarely went over 1,000. I assume only when updates came out, whereas back in mid 2024 it pretty much never ever went below 1,000. So yes, looking at this graph, the game is dying. And by the way, this dip here is when the game got like removed off Roblox for copyright or something, but that was just short term, kind of irrelevant. And we can see the same with the visits here. In the peak, they were getting literally hundreds of thousands of visits a day, 173,000 on one day, whereas now they get a mere 20,000 if they're lucky, right? 30,000 on a good day, and it never really goes higher than that since the start of 2025. And this is visible on all of the graphs as well. The new likes has dropped. The average playtime not really changed. The new favorites though has of course dropped in the same way that the likes, the visits and the concurrent players have. So yes, it is a fact the game is dying, but why is this happening? Because other games are still doing well, and this seems to be just a problem with Jupiter, Florida. Well, I spoke to one of the admins of the game, one of the high up admins, and I asked him why this was the case. Now, it kind of makes sense. If you think about it, the Roblox car community is dying, unfortunately. It's horrible for me to say that because it's literally like my entire YouTube channel is based on roleplay and the Roblox car community, so kind of upsetting to say that, but unfortunately it's the reality of the situation. The Roblox community is literally dying. Cars are being copyrighted left, right and center. Lamborghinis are pretty much no more in most Roblox games. Ferraris, Audis, BMWs, you name it, they've pretty much all had some kind of copyright issue in at least one Roblox game, and it's really affected the car community in a way where it's kind of made games like Jupiter, Florida struggle. Now, games like Driving Empire have a huge audience, a huge player base, and Driving Empire is special in the way that it's backed by a huge company that literally owns like Brookhaven, the biggest game on Roblox. They have millions and millions of dollars to spend on their games, and they can afford actual car licenses to have actual Lamborghinis and McLarens and whatever it may be actually in their game license, whereas a game like Jupiter, Florida, they don't have that kind of budget to spend on the game. And even if they did, it wouldn't really make sense to spend it on a game when, as we've just seen, the facts say that people are not as interested in the game now as what they were, which does leave Jupiter, Florida in a difficult position. It means that Driving Empire is able to purchase car licenses, which brings players from the car community into Driving Empire, taking them away from Jupiter, Florida, leaving Jupiter, Florida with not much they can do. They can't spend money on vehicle licenses because A, it's probably too expensive, and it wouldn't make sense as the game is technically dying and there's no guarantee that it will come back even if they buy car licenses, and that overall the car community is dying. Even though Driving Empire has real car licenses, pretty much no other game does. So unless you really like Driving Empire, if you like cars, Roblox probably isn't the game for you anymore, unless it's a small game that you've made yourself with just a few of your friends, for example, or unless you don't care about fictional cars. But even so, that's not real cars. So if you're an actual car fan or a car enthusiast, you're not really going to want to drive a fictional Lamborghini, for example. It's just not the same when you can play a game like Forza, for example, and drive real cars, or even modded GTA 5 and drive Lamborghinis on there if you really wanted. And of course, Jupiter, Florida is heavily a driving game, a lot more than it is a roleplay game. So because most of their player base is not here for roleplay and is here for the cars, taking them away means the game will lose players. And whilst there are still people that play it for roleplay, they still play the game for the most part. But the game is mostly a driving game, which is unfortunate for Jupiter, Florida. And to be honest, I don't know the solution. I know they've started to put a lot more time and effort into kind of trying to revive the game and bringing it back. I think they've actually hired people to help improve the game's analytics or something. I don't really know much about game developing, so I don't know if that's the case or not, but I think they are actively trying, and the game in itself is not dead. They're still actively updating the game. They've still got an active community, and there are still many OGs that play the game, but there's just not that many new players coming to the game, and eventually the current players will get bored and will move on, which could mean Jupiter, Florida dies out. And unfortunately, that is also bad for people like myself who have this YouTube channel directly for Jupiter, Florida. It means we don't really have many videos to make anymore, because if there's not people playing the game, then there's not an audience to watch the videos that we make. So it's kind of upsetting that Jupiter, Florida is in its current state, but I have faith that they will do everything they can to bring it back, and maybe they've got some ideas up their sleeve which will really help the game perform better. But it is a shame, because I mean, these cars are definitely some of the best on Roblox. Like, this is as close as you can get to Lamborghinis in Roblox, and they still have them. They haven't been copyrighted. They are still here, although I don't know how they haven't been copyrighted, because it's not even a fictional model. It is literally a Lamborghini, but it's still here, so enjoy it while we can, I guess, and cross the copyright bridge if it ever happens. So yeah, I don't know what they can do, to be honest. In my opinion, I think they just have to kind of hope that what they can do will work and they can bring the game back. If that doesn't work, I do think it would be an interesting take if they tried to turn away from the driving community, right? The car community, the Roblox car community, because even though yes, it's a car game mostly, it does have an aspect of roleplay to it. So if they lose the car community, maybe they can grab on to that roleplay aspect and go for it. Like, turn the game more into a roleplay based game and try and attract the roleplay players instead of the car enthusiasts, and that could bring the game back up to its peak players over 1,000 and even beyond that. And maybe it can become like a comparable to like Southwest Florida, which is a strong mix of driving and roleplay, or even ERLC, which is more heavily roleplay than driving. But yeah, I guess that's why I haven't really been uploading on this channel. I guess that's why Jupiter, Florida isn't getting many players, and hopefully in the future things will turn around, and hopefully we will see a comeback from Jupiter, Florida in the near future, but nobody knows what will happen. Only time will tell, and let's just hope Jupiter, Florida can make a comeback, as they are still updating the game frequently, as I said. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Have you seen a difference in the gameplay on Jupiter, Florida? Do you still play it? Have you stopped playing it because of whatever reason? Let me know in the comments. But thank you very much for watching this video. Drop a like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.